Hey everyone, welcome. It's Professor Josh, and I have a special guest with me tonight. I have Jason. So, probably a lot of you know Jason from $7 a pop, maybe, and maybe from I don't know where else. Mystery Grail,
I've just been around
hanging
forever.
around the Funko community forever. So, and that's why you won the Lifetime Achievement Award, I'm guessing. It's been around
Yes.
forever.
Yes, that was a huge honor to just get that. I remember when I got the email, what was a contact on Instagram from Funko. It's just like original Funko sent you a message. I'm like, what? Stop it. But they, I sat there and they sent me an email, and then I'm looking at the email for like 5 minutes. And then like Lee came over. He's like, "You all right?" I was just like, read this for me. I got to make sure."
It's not from some guy in like Nigeria sending
Yeah.
you some fake email.
Yeah. I said, "Read this, but don't say anything." I said, "I just want to make sure that I'm not dreaming." But yeah, then that happened, and yeah, I was just completely blown away. Only three other people had gotten it before me, and it was me and Kim, and I've known Kim McCandy for a long time, and they spelled both of our names wrong too. So I appreciate the consistency of
I mean, everyone has to have weird. Maybe that's part of the criteria. Like you have to have some kind
Oh,
of like not normal spelling of a name or
it
something like
has to
that.
be. And I tell you, ever since I was a kid, there's always been a misspelling of it. But usually, like, it's Swoboda, Bada at the end.
Okay.
That was the first time it was SWA in a while. But I remember, like, when I graduated eighth grade in high school and college, I was just like, make sure my name's spelled correctly, please. That's all I ask of you.
Did you have to like phonetically spell it out for people when you handed them stuff? Like,
Yeah,
here's how you say my name.
yeah, but it's all right. If there's any sort of plaque or something, like when I got my Hall of Fame plaque, that was spelled correctly, and I also received the Golden Underwear Award in 2003. That
Wow.
was at Fun Days in Vegas, and
Nice.
at the time, Mike just said, I want to give out some awards to some of the fanatics that are there. And I'm trying to think, what was the one thing that means so much to you could give to somebody, and well, the most personal thing you can give to somebody is their underwear. And they had like 20 spray painted gold underwear in like this frame that they gave out to different fanatics and stuff, and that was cool. That was unexpected then too. He called my name. I went, "Are you serious?" Like
That's
I
great.
had only been around for like a year at that point. I was like, "What? Me? Me? Oh, nice." But yeah, it was a wild weekend too. So once I got that email, I was just like, I should probably go because I had a slot for Friday.
Yeah.
So I decided to go down there, and I had probably one of the best times I've had in a while. It was
I
great.
mean, would they like at least move around the slot for you if you like said I can only go on Thursday? Do you think they would have like we can get you in maybe we can
Well,
figure out
yeah, I mean, I had my Friday morning slot, but after that, they were just like, "Oh, we put you on the VIP list for Wednesday." I said, "Well, I'm not going to be there Wednesday. I'm going to be there Friday." They're like, "All right, we put you on the VIP spot for Friday." I was like, "Oh, cool,
okay,
thank you." So that was nice of them. So that
awesome.
if that's the only benefit I ever get from the lifetime achievement, that's fine.
Hey,
It's
the
right there.
VIP benefit. That's all good.
Yeah.
Like you think they would like send you out there first class with a limo and all this kind of cool stuff, but
No, there's no first class. There's just canceled flights. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was great seeing everybody. It was great seeing Mike again and everyone from Funko and all my fanatic friends that I haven't seen, most of them in close to 2 years now. So
nice.
it was great. It was really great to see
Yeah,
everybody.
I'm sure it's strange being part of like a community that you've been a part of for a while, and then no one's had a chance to like get together. Like, there's probably a lot of the same people that you see over. There's new people, of course, always in the community, and new collectors and new people that happen to get lucky to get into the, fun days or get to go over to San Diego Comic-Con and stuff. But
Hmm.
seeing sometimes the same people and over, it's like same as like a work conference that you go to every year, or like the organizations that you go to and see the same people.
Yeah, and it's it sucks like what happened, like everything that went down with last year, everything getting canceled. Obviously I understand why, but it kind of sucks, and you don't realize, like, I didn't realize until I started like hanging out with a couple friends that how much I like missed it. like I knew I missed it, and I was just like, yeah, of course I miss everybody. But then like getting like a small slice. I mean, usually it's a much bigger gathering. It's usually Fun Days or San
Yeah.
Diego or even New York, where you see a larger group of the fanatics. But in this particular case, it was a small amount, but it was like it was good. It was great, and so like I found people I knew, and I was just like, oh great, now we can hang out today,
and
and we
and it's different being in like Hollywood, and there isn't like the same thing like, oh, I'll see these people maybe around the convention center, or people dressed up in cosplay or whatever. Like no, it's just the line for Holly like in the Fun Days in the Hollywood, and then you're done, and you're done in what, like maybe 2 hours time or so with
I'd
most
say,
people, probably
well, I mean,
3 hours.
depends on what time slot you had. I mean, I was down there fairly early. I got there 7:45.
Hmm.
Um, so that was pretty early, and there was people lining up for the 1 o'clock time slot at that point too. So I got there at 8. They let everyone in like a little before 9, and they did all the tent stuff. And then at 10 o'clock, we went over to the store, and then you get an hour inside the store, and
Okay.
then you walk outside, and you were done. And it's just
Yeah.
like, all right, what am I going to do for many hours?
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Well, I mean, at least you're in like LA and Hollywood, and there's things to go explore and see, especially people that haven't been out there. They haven't.
Yeah,
So
and the Amoeba Music moved to their new spot right down around the corner from them too.
okay.
They used to be down further on Hollywood, in a real dump, but it'd been there forever. Um, like horrible parking, and just it was not a fun place to get in and out of.
Yeah,
But the new place is pretty nice, and it's really large, and it's one of the biggest music stores I think I've ever been in.
nice.
It might be the biggest music store. So, but there's not a ton to do on Hollywood Boulevard, and you can't walk it without you know fear for certain things. It's not
Yeah,
the
it's not always the safest place to be.
it's not it's you have little sections of it, but all in all, I mean, that little area was great, and where they had the tent, it was all air conditioning. What they considered hot, you and I would laugh at,
Yeah,
because it was like they said, "Oh, it's going to be really, really hot." I'm like, "What's it? It just says it's going to be 90.
it's 90 and it's
That's
dry
hot."
and there's no humidity.
Yeah, I'm like, "It's hot, but come on, settle down. It's not that bad."
Yeah, like go stand in line at Disney World here in August outside. Yeah, you know
No,
that's hot. That's when you know you can survive any
well,
line.
even up here, like in all July and August, I go in the morning to water my garden outside, and I come like 5 minutes out there, and I come back in. And I look like I put the hose on myself. Like I'm just drenched. I'm like, oh god, I hate everything. I hate.
Yeah, I have an uncle that lives in Maryland, and I will go. I've been a couple times to visit him. We stay at his house because he's right outside, so we can get to DC. So we can
Mhm.
the metro, and he'd drop us off. He's a realtor, so he'll drop us off. We'll jump and go to DC for the day, and then he'll pick us up on the metro when we get home.
Oh boy,
So,
well,
you
that's
know,
pretty
but
nice.
yeah, I've been there in like July and August, like summer, vacation time and stuff, and it's just yeah, like
It's
especially in a city, it's like oh
Yeah, where you have no shade, and it's
yeah,
just you have the heat from the concrete and the blacktop just beating on you.
yeah.
Speaking of DC, $7 a pop's actually going to be at AwesomeCon this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So
so if anyone's in the DC area or they're planning on going to AwesomeCon, we're at booth 1919, and we're going to be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
you guys are doing. I saw like signature series, a bunch of
Hmm.
signature series you're bringing. Um, what else? You guys doing any mystery boxes or
Yeah,
anything like
it's
that?
going to be we're going to have a mystery grail drop just for the show.
Nice,
And then we're going to have a special signature series drop for the show, which we're going to announce this week too. So
awesome.
anyone who's watching, stay tuned to us because I have a lot of work to do.
I want to say what's up. I see Jay from Unboxing Treasure hanging out with us. Velvet, Kenneth. I see Kate Titus all the way from Japan hanging out. What the Pop? We got Alfredo. We got who else I saw in here? I saw Chesnick, Jeremy, James. a bunch of people, a couple new names too. So you might have brought some people over. Thanks for sending out, retweeting it, and sharing it, and all that kind of stuff. I figured, we were chatting about something else, and I was like, why don't I just have Jason on? Why don't we hang out? We like the same stuff. We like collecting geeky things, all those kind of stuff. And then, it's interesting because I'm trying to think of how long ago I was into like $7 a pop. I think before you joined, when it was maybe just like Lee and whoever else was with him at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it was before you joined the team. Because how long ago was that? About 3 years ago?
No, I only joined last January. Yeah, to start
like
the year
longer ago for some reason.
Dude, because 2020 was 4 years long. So no matter what, and that, starting a job in 2020, I thought this is great. We're, I have all these plans to do things, and then we get that little curveball. Gigantic curveball was this big.
I don't know. It might have helped like your industry though a little bit too. In the weird way. Like I think a lot of new collectors started in 2020 because they had nothing else to do.
Yeah, and what's more comfortable than falling into a nostalgia? And that's the big thing that Funko offers. It's that feeling when you were a kid and you see something you like and you're like, oh, this looks exact. This is the stuff that I like, enjoy. It's my pop culture love.
I mean, it's so funny, like talking with different people of different age, especially like on Thursday night we do PopFourceOne, and there's a good variety of us. So we have Slapshot Pops. So John, so he's like 10 years more plus younger than everyone else. And then we have me and Vince about the same, and then Rock and Roll a little older. So we have like different genres of like, oh, I remember this as a kid, and this as a cartoon I watched, or these are the action figures and toys and things like that I played with. So
where's the cutoff for you? Like, I know as far as like collecting and like pop culture, I grew up G.I. Joe, Transformers, to a smaller degree He-Man. I think that came in at the tail end of He-Man, like when I was really little. Ninja Turtles, and then I drop off because then that's when Mighty Morphin Power Rangers kicks in, and then everything after that. Because I never watched Power Rangers was not my thing. I was too. I guess I aged out at that point.
So I didn't have Power Rangers toys, but I remember seeing it. I wasn't big into it because I have a brother that's 8 years younger. So kind of like that weird thing of like when you watch TV and everyone was kind of in one room watching TV, not everyone had like 12 TVs with cable and internet access and everything else. You had like one TV that most people watched, in the room with cable or whatever hooked up. So I had pretty much He-Man, G.I. Joe. One of my best Christmas gifts ever was the G.I. Joe Battleship.
Oh,
and my mom and dad put it together the night before. Like, wow. I woke up on Christmas morning and it was all together, like out there, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like crazy. That kind of thing.
USS flag. That is awesome. Do you still have it?
I don't. So I played with my toys. Like that's the thing. Growing up, I think now that why I'm collecting stuff, like we're more cautious and like, okay, I actually played with my toys. Like my toys were outside in the mud, in the pool, in wherever. Because I grew up in Florida, so we played outside year round, all the time, and all those kind of things. I'm sure there's G.I. Joe and He-Man and stuff like that. Ninja Turtles buried in my old front backyard.
We're gonna have an archaeological dig.
Yeah,
that's the sword of Eternia right there.
So I had probably a dog that chewed up like G.I. Joe figures arms off and stuff like that, and all those kind of things. But I had a lot of the different that's what I think connects us with Funko now. A lot of the collectors is remembering that stuff. Like, oh, now they come out with these toys, and the retro line kind of is really going hardcore into it, I think. But even before that, just some of the nostalgia parts.
Well, that's when it started. Funko was always a big. What hooked me in initially was the first wobbler I ever got was Bone Daddy, and I picked up at Spencer's, and then I just had it because I was just I was listening to swing and ska music at the time, just he's wearing a zoot suit and he's a skeleton and he glows in the dark. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that should tell you everything you need to know about me at that age. Then I found an El Diablo a couple months later that was on sale. And then
Okay.
I liked them. And then I just kept going to Spencer's because I worked at a Suncoast in the mall. And I just kept
Yeah.
stopping at Spencer's on my way to the food court. And they had like Popeye and the monkeys. And they were all like on clearance for like $6-7. I was like, oh, I'll just keep buying these. Next thing you know, I have like 25 of them. And I'm like, crap. They have a website. Let me look at that website. Funko.com. What? There's a message board? So you like, I lurked on this message board called Wobble World for like a year.
Yeah.
And then finally I was working at the bank at that time and goofing off, not doing stuff. And I just signed up for the actual account. And it was, and I introduced myself and I got to meet some incredibly lifelong friends. Oh, there's a question up here.
Yeah, there is a question. I'm fixing my camera.
Okay. Do I remember Captain Planet? You know, it's funny. I was actually just talking about Toxic Crusaders with a friend of mine because we were talking about Trauma Films and the Toxic Avenger, and I said, "Do you remember Toxic Crusaders?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, it was the cartoon with Toxie," and then I started singing the theme song, and he's just like, "Yes, now I remember it."
Oh, geez.
And they had those Playmates toys too, so I would have Toxie would always play with the Ninja Turtles. I never liked Captain Planet though.
Oh no.
I didn't. It was just never my thing. I didn't like the animation style as a kid, and I always laughed when they said heart.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a couple Captain Planet toys, I think, in the house. Mm-hmm. I can't remember if they were mine or my brother's, like that kind of thing.
Are those also buried in the front yard too, Josh?
Probably buried.
They're buried with He-Man. I tell you, if they ever dig up your old house, they're going to have some questions.
They're going to have lots of weird toy questions and wondering what's going on. So.
Yeah, like 300 years from now, they're going to be like, why did the society fall? Oh, they buried plastic men in the front yard. That's what they did. This one's named He-Man.
So, yeah, it's just crazy that thinking about like all the toys that we grew up with now, you know, turning like so much more is coming out. Like I feel like right now is that prime of all the Funko stuff like that's coming out again. And it seems like now it's repeating, like a lot of it's repeating itself. So you had like the original He-Man, but now you have like all this new He-Man stuff coming out, you know, and it's kind of like it goes in that waves. Like, hey, let's reintroduce these lines. People are into it again. You know, we have this audience that we haven't really connected with. Maybe that's coming, you know, out and all those kind of things. But then you have your like right now pop culture happening, which is really always fun, right? You have your what's going on with you know, whether it's Stranger Things, I'm a big fan of. So that's like a right now kind of, you know, happenings, whether it's Star Wars, all the new Star Wars stuff, all the new Marvel stuff, all the, you know, like all these new lines coming out. And it's kind of cool to see that. But I think, you know, that's what, you know, connected me earlier on, like Star Wars and Marvel. I remember seeing that. I remember picking up the DeLorean. That was my first pop ride probably ever.
You mean the time machine?
The time machine, yes.
Like how it wasn't Jimi Hendrix, it was Purple Haze.
No. I have up there, I have Reggae Rasta as well, too.
Reggae, definitely not Bob Marley.
Definitely not Bob Marley. Like, that was like, oh, how can we get away with this?
Yeah, but they did that a lot, like, because when they did the original Funko Force, they did the same thing. They had Purple Haze, and when they did, Jim Morrison was Lizard Man.
Oh, okay.
And they never made a Jim Morrison pop. So I guess that's how they got around all that. I don't know. The whole thing was bizarre.
Oh, yeah.
It's very bizarre.
Yeah, that whole, like, right there, we don't know what's going on, what's happening. And, like, it's just really strange, like, how that licensing works. And especially, like, how licensing works on, like, estates like that the people aren't alive, you know, they're like going to the state. How's it going to go? I mean, the big controversial one is Michael Jackson, right? Like, kind of had to be removed from the app. Even like, we don't want it anywhere.
Yeah, and then you had, like after Prince passed away, then all of a sudden, all this merchandise flooded the market after that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's also the family who controls the estate. It's just like, let's like Prince probably would have been like, I don't want that. I never want that. I don't want to sell that. And now that it's his estate, they're just like cashing in on it. I mean, I don't want to assume, but that's sure. It sure seems like that. Prince music's appearing in commercials and
Oh yeah.
like all these things that you're just like, he probably wouldn't have been cool with that.
Like who owns it all? Like what person or company or whatever? It's like all those kind of like little things that go on with the estate, and then trying to go. But
Yeah, and negotiations for those things are very strange because there's some people who want a pop made and they can't get it done, and then there's some people who seemingly just stay away from it. They don't want
oh yeah,
they don't want their likeness for a part of it. But there's a lot of people now, since so many people know who Funko is now compared to 10 years ago. And you think when I first started, like when Pop came out, Wobblers had only been around for, well, I guess if you count Big Boy initially, we're gonna say 11 years, right?
yeah.
Pop is now 11 years old. So Pop has been around as long as Wobblers were when Pop came out. So it's the dominant strain, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
the Pop variant of Funko. They've been around the longest. But when did you start actually collecting, Josh?
Probably it was about probably like 8 years ago or so. So,
So you got in right before, like you got in at a good time.
good time. I wasn't hardcore collecting. I was just kind of collecting for like, oh, I love these on my desk and I love these at work and like those kind of things. I wasn't thinking about like, oh, I need to get the latest SDCC released or con thing. I was like, find these at comic book shops or find these at whatever store you're going to, Barnes and Noble or something like that. And you're like, oh, this is cool. I like this. Or, I remember this movie. Or like my wife too. She's like, yeah, I kept boxes even for stuff I took out of box, but she didn't for everything. She's like, oh, this thing's now $100, but now I don't have the box. Like because we just kind of bought stuff for each other too that we like pop culture wise or like movie wise and things like that. Because we're big, movie pop culture, and then of course like other comics and everything else that kind of goes into that. But I love collecting like some of the old stuff, but there's so many interesting lines with Funko. What was a product that you remember that Funko put out that you're like, why did they put that out?
I can always see the reasoning behind it. Some of the really big, like ones that never took off that I thought had more promise was like the keepsake cupcakes. I thought those were going to do a little bit better than they did, and I'd forgotten about them. And then next thing you know, they were in a Five Below, and I'm just like, damn, these things fell fast. Yeah, after Wobblers, they did Handy Dandies, it was a wobbler head, but it was on like one of those old-fashioned puppet bodies.
Oh, okay.
So you could put like your thumb and finger and just, like the old, who do you call it? Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood puppet looking things. So they did Handy Dandies, then they did Wacky Wisecracks, which, do I have one close by? Hold on, I do. So it's like these little things, and each one had like a little saying. Like this one was an elephant that was drunk, and it says "bottoms up." And so they did that line, and they did a whole bunch of those. Then they came out with Spastic Plastic. Then they came out with Fantastic Plastic, which was the licensed version of it. Blocks.
I remember Blocks.
Unfortunately, Blocks didn't take off.
Didn't do well. You can still find them if you want to buy some. But
yeah. Nodniks, I almost got the entire set, including the unreleased, but I never was able to track down Thor.
Wow.
I had the prototype of the Thor Nodnik, but nothing else. I know I'm missing some, but like Handy Dandies was a very interesting one. And they had peekaboo pop-ups, which I have all this stuff right next to me. They were these little things. They had a thing on the bottom. Were supposed to be like greeting cards, so you push this down.
Oh, nice.
So these were all pre-Pop, and then once Pop hit, there was like, that mixed emotion where some of the older collectors are just like, I don't get it.
Why do you want this little like?
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, they're like, yeah, they're
not a
cute.
wobbler. What is
They
it?
look like the plushies, and I remember thinking that I'm just like, oh, good. These are kind of cute. I could see this working out because I don't collect plush items because
No,
I'm a grown up now, and
no Beanie Babies. No.
no, yeah, um, and, we always dealt with that too. That oh, these are just like Beanie Babies, and like
Yeah.
Wobblers, like oh, Wobblers are like Beanie Babies, and the Wobbler like secondary market kind of crashed for a couple of different things that there are a couple of really long involved stories I could tell you over a beer a few times, but
And also, like, they just stopped making them too. I mean, that kind of like there's no keep the thrive going as long as things are made. I think that helps that market, unless later on, like the limited special looking for things that you wanted to collect and remember. But
mm-hmm.
even like toys and things like that, if things keep being made, people still tend to want things like Transformers still being made. There's so
Yes,
much. Hot Wheels is a great example of like never ending collector of stuff. Like
yeah, and
forget pops, Hot Wheel collectors are insane.
like
Oh,
even the way Lego turned things around because they had a lot of trouble for
they
as you
license
think.
stuff. That's what helped them.
Yeah,
That's the
but you even
biggest
look,
thing.
but you think like Lego almost was gone forever. And
It
if you
was.
think about how Lego is, how big it is right now, how
Mm-hmm.
like 7, 8 years ago that company was almost gone. And
Yeah.
like that's hard to believe how it seemingly turned around overnight after that whole, what was that thing that game they came, Bionicle or something? The one that
Bionic,
almost
but I think that's part of it. What they started doing is making a lot of pieces that weren't traditional pieces and parts. So it kind of the collector it kind of went away with, and then they started making all these other different weird things that just didn't fit. And this was before they had any licensing. I think
Mhm.
that's the big thing that saved them is one licensing. Another thing was a different market with the robotics. So having some of those come into play and people open sourcing them and becoming a different market in itself as well too. But I really think licensing saved them. Getting like stuff like Star Wars and all those. I mean, I always tell people like some of those sets were always like buying those sometimes are better than playing the stock market. Like
Mhm.
just buy some Lego sets and put them away if they're like limited pieces and limited runs because they only make a mold for so long and then boom, it's gone and they never make that mold again.
And they're starting to do like other toy companies are waking up to that. What Hasbro's been doing with Transformers, doing like their special, like the Unicron that was $500 or whatever, and
And
now it's worth it.
crowdsourcing it and making sure audience is there beforehand, like
And
giving that hype.
they're worth like 3 times what you paid for it,
Yeah.
and that's crazy.
And you're starting to see. I mean, Funko's done a pretty good job of like being able to vault stuff and move it. And I think that's what helped a little bit too. Is not sometimes keep stuff out there forever almost and redo it and remake it, but other stuff like hey, move on and make it a item collectors one, and you got enough out there.
But look at like this, for
Yes.
example, the diecast Captain America, which is absolutely lovely, and I could see why it was $50. I mean, even like the presentation of the box itself, it looks like a fine collector item. Like
Yeah.
it's in one of these little
Oh, it's
boxes.
a nice, like almost like your iPhone kind of box. Like
It felt like opening an iPhone. But yeah, it's super great. And like it attaches to the base, it doesn't bobble, and you could really like hurt somebody with this if you wanted to. This could be a very deadly weapon, even more so than the 8-bit pops. But like I think just doing this, you're making something to display, and it's perfect. And they took a lot of good care that the Captain America inside didn't rattle around because it came in the foam. So you're not going to run into greater risk of damaging. Like it minimizes the damage. So I understood why this was 50. If they could do more stuff like this, I could see it being successful because I mean, it's a ready display museum looking piece, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are, love to own that. It's interesting because Funko has kept it on their site, kind of like notify only. Like, will it become like Pietro, and like maybe one day they'll come back with more.
But whenever they do those like restocks, they're gone in like 2 seconds because only like 2 or 3 are put up. a very small amount. So by the time you click it, it's gone.
And it's a con thing too, so it's not like something they're just releasing on a drop or a regular. It's a con piece, and you don't see those usually come back too often. Like,
Yeah,
so hopefully, I mean, that would keep the value of it, and hopefully then add more to it. Like if people like those, then they can start adding a couple more here and there, and keep that line growing. I think it'll be good for a niche collector. I don't think it's for everyone because it's $50. One thing. I mean,
it is.
it's not for like any kid just to go say, "Hey, I want that. I want to buy it." You know,
Yeah,
like.
but if you like, yeah, if you like Captain America,
Yep.
you know, especially the Avengers movie, like that's you'd want to own that.
Oh, yeah.
I basically bought it out of sheer curiosity because I mean, when you bought it, it was in like it wasn't on display. It was that.
Yeah.
So when they handed it to us and we went inside, I was just like, "Oh, was there a Captain America?" They're like, "Yeah, it's that." I was like, "Oh, Barcelona Pop 61, of course." Duh.
Yeah.
Duh. What a dummy I am.
Thinking.
What was I thinking at all?
Yeah, I think they've done such an interesting thing. I mean, I think right now the hot thing and somewhat is sodas, and I can say they're the hot thing, but not for everyone. They're not the hot thing for everyone. It's still a lot of people don't know about them or what they are or what really. There's a pretty niche community. I mean, we hype them a lot, we open a lot, so there's a lot of us in our group that kind of opens a ton, probably buys 50% of the stock of sodas there.
Well, the thing is that as a retailer, you have to like most of those when they go up for sale, they're gone in less than a minute.
Oh, yeah.
So like if you're not literally there, and it's not like you can do for other stuff where you're just like, yeah, whatever this comes up, just put me down for 5 cases or whatever. You go to order it, it's gone. Like you miss out most of the time.
We're not going to tell you what it is, but here's when it's going to launch, and we'll launch it, and you better order it.
Yeah.
Get your cases in, and we don't care if it's a luchador that's not going to sell, or if it's a Frankenstein Jr. or whatever else that's going to go out there.
But like they did, they were giving everyone 2 tickets for the Thor soda, which was the Comic-Con one, and that's pretty cool, right? So I was talking to someone there who was just like, yeah, their group got like 6 or 8 of them, and all of them were regulars, and I only get 2, and I get the chase.
You just I said 2 and done.
I said I'll do this for Pop Twins Tuesday tomorrow. But I sent a picture of it. I was said to my friend, I was just like, hey, I opened up my 2, and this is what I got. She's just like, F you.
And then
except she spelled it out.
I saw someone open 4 and get 4 chases. I'm like, that's the weird thing about when they're sent from Funko. They're not like picked from a case, like from kind of like if they come from Spastic or Smai or anyone like that, they're picked from a sealed case and just random. And there's only 1 out of the 6 that's going to be. But when I get them from like GameStop or Hot Topic or anything like that, I've gotten like 3 out of 5 chases. I've gotten all kinds of like different numbers like that where they don't know because they don't come in that same kind of case situation.
They were saying that like Hot Topic gets 3 to a case.
Yeah, they get these little 3-pack cases, but I don't know what the odds are in those numbers. Like, are there 3? Especially when you order them by the mail and get them online and order them. Like I've gotten them before where we've had like 3 out of 5 or gotten like almost I felt like all chases. Like you're opening up and you're like a chase, yes, a chase. And
yeah, I like that chance. I like the odds. This like the packaging and everything. It's very Mike Becker, and everything about it. Just the fun, the song that they had, the soda, like everything about that was just a lot of fun.
I mean, just the style of the can. I think that's what drew me in, just the artwork of the can. And then I was like, okay, I have a figure to display. And then even more fun, I get to open something and I can get a bigger prize, something more limited, and have some fun with it. So it's kind of like, it's better than mystery minis. I feel mystery minis like kill my heart sometimes opening those. It's like you open a sealed case and then you have to open like 4 cases worth of stuff to be able to get a whole set. Like, there's no way. And then you have all these same doubles that are over and over.
And look at the with the Packas.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I ordered a bunch of them from GameStop, and I got all but one. Or I got two. Someone gave me the dragon afterwards.
Okay.
And I'm only missing one of the 1/72s. I think it's the glitter Nina. This is the only one I'm missing. And everyone's like, "You want it?" I was like, "I don't think so. I'm gonna wait."
Yeah.
I like not having that one. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm not paying you $100 for that.
No, I mean, yeah, those are the crazy things. Is like, I like the sodas. I like the limited. I think that's my favorite part of, like, they're keeping the sodas still pretty decently limited, and they're bringing in a variety of characters but not overdoing it all at once. Like, a great example is today, right? How many Office Pops dropped, and mini and everything else that dropped today. I mean, it was crazy.
I'm super glad that I gave up on the Office Pop line, because I was keeping up, and I was like I even had 3 hole punch Jim, and I'm like, I got to give up. I can't do it. There's too many creeds. There's too many things I got to find. I don't want it.
Yeah. So now you're probably really glad now.
Oh God, yes. But now, like, I have a couple of them, and they're ones I really like. So, like, I have Kevin with his chili. I have Pretzel Day Stanley. I have Michael, and like I'm like that's. And I have a couple Dwights.
And you gotta keep those little. You got to keep sometimes the ones you like, and then later on, it's easier to give them up because you're not completing the whole set. So if you want to give them up later on, it's a lot easier.
Yes, I remember, like, when it's like when you sell some of your, like, older ones. Like, I had sold my Purple Haze and my Reggae Rasta, and my 1950s Elvis, because they were just like, "Oh, that's worth $1,100," and I went,
"Okay,
what?" But goodbye. Wave it bye. So that was the end of that. But yeah, the hobby's gotten way crazy, and being it, I think also working at $7 a pop and just seeing basically everything that comes through. It just kind of it made me realize it's just like, all right, so there's no such thing as really FOMO. You just have to be patient, and eventually, you can everything eventually you can find. But I guess if you work at a place that buys collections, that's the caveat. You can be really patient when you work at a place that buys collections.
I think anything new too is like, there's like, these Freddy prices are insane. And makes no sense at all. And I know most of the eBay ones are really fake typed up ones, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's not a $10,000 pop for 1,000 pieces. I'm sorry.
But even seeing them on Macari like sell for $200 or $300, you're like, I can go buy a 500 piece Freddy for that price. Why would I want to buy 1,000 or 2,000 piece Freddy for that price?
I mean, like, $10,000 for a pop. I mean, that's
no.
You can get a decent used car for that. I mean, that's you can get a nice smart car that you can plug in, like a 2-seater. It's a lot of money to drop on one pup. I don't think that's real. I think it's just creating
fake hype around a lot of stuff.
But hey, I could be wrong on certain things, because I once passed on a Clockwork Orange for $300 because I was just like, I ain't spending that.
Yeah.
Bad,
we all have
bad
those
move.
moments. We all have those moments where, like, oh yeah, you want this for $90? No, that's too much. 6 months later, it's $300. You're like, I should have probably got that.
Son of a.
Yeah, we all have those moments.
Yeah, but that's the crazy thing with this hobby, though. I did not expect we'd be here. Like, I thought it would. I knew Funko would always be around, but I didn't realize that they would be their own industry of collectibles, where everyone was gunning for them.
And $7 a pop now is branched off to so many things in this past year. Just since you've probably come there, a lot of the branch off. You had your protectors, and then you added the pop armors beyond the protectors. Mm-hmm. Of course, you have the drops, which are always hot and go super fast, and then you started doing signature series and mystery grail, and everything kind of snowballed where I saw the walkthrough video Gasolcast did,
Hmm.
and just seeing like the operation that happens now daily is pretty amazing. Like what has come of that.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Like my initial conversations with Lee when I got hired of what I was going to do, um, some of it was going to lead to this, but then once we had signature series planned, there was supposed to be a Marshawn Lynch, and that we're still hopeful one day that'll happen. But the first one we really did was Kurt Angle. It was the first signature series. He was at a Maryland Championship Wrestling show up the road from us, and I was just like, "Can we get some? How quick can we get some Kurt Angle pops to see if we could put this together?" We got it all put together, but like my initial, it wasn't supposed to be like that. The signature series wasn't a thing. It was going to be like
Every
something.
Saturday, it's supposed
Well,
to
it
be.
was going to be like once, a couple times a year, and that was it, like a special thing. If you watch those early videos, they're hideous. I want to take them down. But like once like that took off, it's just like okay, so there's COVID hits after that, and then we don't know what's going to happen. We had to shut down for like 2 weeks because
Yeah.
we didn't know what to do. Then we opened up with limited capacity. Then we had finally did one drop a week. Then we worked our way back up to three. But during this time, we started, all these actors and everything. People needed to work, and they,
Mhm.
everything was shut down. So suddenly we started making connections and started getting a couple more. We did Justin Briner. We did Ron Perlman. We
Mhm.
worked our way up to Val Kilmer later in the summer. We had Charlie Sheen. So I mean, we started building up, and like I thought when we got Val Kilmer, I was just like, we got Val Kilmer. I'm like, oh my god, this is like, who would have thought we got Val Kilmer? And then the videos started happening, and then I realized I had some. Lee was just like, you're doing fine with them. Just you know, ch- I go ahead, knock yourself out. So then I started doing all this crazy stuff because I was like, oh, I can be funny. I forgot I have that ability.
You
So
can have some fun.
let me
You can have fun with
entertain.
what I'm doing.
Yeah, because if you ever look back at that Kurt Angle video, it's very like I was like very nervous doing it, and I couldn't even pronounce announce. I said announce, like I had a space in between it,
Yeah.
and we're proud to announce this today. And I didn't have another take, so that's in there. But it was very stiff and not very
Yeah.
good.
Well, and it takes time. I mean, just like anyone doing like live streams, anyone doing, YouTube videos and everything, like a lot of people ask about that kind of thing. And it's like, you just got to do it. And then
Yeah,
you got to get better at it, and you try new things out, and you do different things, and then you got to do what makes you feel comfortable. Like if you don't enjoy it and have fun with it and aren't and having a good time, you're just doing it because you have to do it. You're not gonna, it's going to come off that way.
yeah,
People, you can see like watching different people's videos and how they progressed and changed and what they liked. Um, I for
absolutely.
I, for example, started off on Instagram before I did YouTube.
Hmm.
So I did almost 6 months or more of Instagram lives every week. I did Instagram lives, turned them into IGTV videos right afterwards and stuff like that. But I did that with mystery box opening because I'm like, I'm opening this mystery boxes. It's fun. Like, yeah, my wife will see me open them, but I was like, let me open them with other people watching and let
Yeah.
me see
You
how that
gotta
goes.
you gotta open them anyway, right?
Yeah, I'm like,
So
show
as
show
recorded.
people what
What the
it's
heck?
like. I want
Hmm.
to check out these, and other people are excited about them and want to talk about it and all that good stuff. So
But I think one of the great things about you and like some of the stuff that you actually do, like you're very like me, very positive. It's not just like every week, just like God, everything sucks. This is terrible. Why would you do that? But it's a very positive vibe that you have, and you tend to have fun, and you like even like with like stuff with like Mr. Grill or anything else. Which by the way, we only sent you the one.
yeah,
That was right before
yeah,
it started.
yeah.
We there's sometimes is a misconception that we
You send me every week. You
yeah
just
that
send
we
them to
yeah
me.
we don't load or comp
Uh,
boxes for
yeah.
that specific purpose.
And,
But I love watching your unboxing videos because you and your wife just seem to have a really fun time doing that. So
yeah, and
it's
I
great
mean,
to
it was
see.
kind of fun to get her into it and doing it more. And she doesn't want to always, like sometimes getting on videos, like come on, let's do it. And then she does it and she's like, oh, I'm good to go. So typically I record 3 videos in one day. Like I'll record the 3 videos for the week sometimes in one day, or 2 to 3, because if she's joining me, I'm like, let's do it. And then she's like, I'm ready. I want to open more stuff. I want to check out more stuff. I want to open sodas. I want to do whatever, like then you get into it and get in the mood for it. Like it's easier for me to say, okay, I need to do this. I need to do that. I mean, since I started, I've been live every Monday night. Like I did it before on IG. I was like, let me keep going. I'm going to do a live every Monday night. And I was like, let me just keep it an hour now. I mean, for people to enjoy, have fun, hang out with us, have guests on sometimes, and not all, like, I didn't want to be the thing where I was forced to have a guest on every week too. I've seen a lot of people have to like force and like, oh, I need to bring every week. I want to have a different guest on. I was like, I don't want to do that. Like sometimes I just want to hang out with everyone, open some boxes, talk about what happened last week in Funko or whatever happened over the weekend or whatever I did.
The week in fun.
Yeah.
Did you so have you been to any Funko events or anything?
So we have not normal Funko events, like local stuff, like not anything big. I've never been to Fun Days or anything like that.
You should try and get connected with the Fanatics Day Out might still happen this year.
Okay.
we keep hearing word about that it might happen. I hosted the one in Baltimore back in 2018, and I hosted a long time before that. Like we had back in 2010 and 2011, we had back-to-back years, and I had like eight people one year and like 13 the next, something like that, in my backyard. And then when I did it in 2018, there was like 88 people, and I'm like, I couldn't have this in my backyard today.
No, sorry.
And we were gunning. Yeah, and it was supposed to be last spring. We were going to have for FD09, and it was going to be over 100 people at that one. So there still should be over 100 people, whether or not it happens. But there's one in where you live in Orlando.
Okay.
So.
I know we've been doing, well, it's funny. They did before, so I've done this a couple times where we have FunCon, which is funny. Now Funko took that,
Yeah, I had mine was going to be called Funkoween, so I feel you. I feel you.
So now it's like Funko PopCon or something like that, like just some general name, because having those kind of events is kind of neat because sometimes they're 1 day, sometimes they're 2 day. But it's like they have people selling stuff. So it's some of your normal vendors that might be in the community, but then it's other people that like, I'll have a table. I saw another guy who's like wanting to get rid of most of his collection. He'll have a table, kind of things like that. Other people will trade stuff in the hallway or whatever kind of thing and bring things. So it's not like a toy show where they're like, no, you can't bring in other stuff, you can't try to sell and trade and do stuff. So,
but that kind of stuff's fun because when you can meet, I remember when I met Chris and Heather for the first time, the Gasselcast, they were at my FDO, and that was the first time I met them, and then we became friends after that, and you find it and you realize that there's like-minded individuals, at least as far as like Funko goes, that get. I always say there's people in this hobby that either get it or they don't. Some people who want to treat it like it's like cryptocurrency or some sort of investment, which that's NFTs. Go collect those. They want to treat it as if it's like the stock market or something, and that's fine if you want to do that. But there's some of us out there that still we do it for the fun, and you do it for the people, the friends that I've made over the years. It's really unbelievable. That stuff I said in the Fun Days video was 100%. It's we are the ones who started that. Come for the toys, stay for the people. It was like that was our thing because we're all sitting around just going, what do you can you believe this? Can you believe this? Like it's unbelievable. We started. We used to have 120 people, 150 people at Fun Days, and now there's 2,000. It sells out in a minute or two. I mean,
Yeah.
we used to have people like the day of fun days, just like, oh, have you been to Funko? Oh yeah,
Come on.
PayPal Brian Mariotti. We had to PayPal the owner of the company to go to fun days, and now it's like this. It's unbelievable. And
You gotta get a money order. Bring a check in. Come
yeah,
on.
they're gonna check it. Where's the Western Union?
Yeah.
But I think with this past FunCon event and everything else going on, I think Fun Days is going to be bigger next year
Yeah.
when hopefully everything is please get everything under control
I
and we can
know.
get together again and hang out.
Yeah. And
But
and
it's
it's I'm glad they at least tried to do something this year. I was
mhm,
really like afraid they weren't going to do anything, weren't going to have a box of fun, weren't going to do any Freddies, which is a sad thing to see last year.
mhm.
Hardly any Freddies get
Well,
released.
I mean, these were all from last year. Like
Yeah,
all this stuff was planned from last
yeah,
year, and I had mentioned to Mike, I was just like, God, this would have been amazing, like in person, like to witness that because like the crowds, we saw the live stream. A couple of fanatics had rented a theater around the corner, like up the street from Hollywood, and I got to watch it there with them with live, and like the people, like people were really into it. It may have been the canned seltzers that were floating around and other stuff, but people were like legitimately into it. And even online, people were saying, proto punks forever, and they were really into their teams and like making avatars and stuff. And it was great. And I think it had just been too long since something like that happened, and
yeah.
it was fun to get back together with everybody.
Oh yeah. I think that's a great thing to see, like a community around it, and whether it's your online community, a lot of people. That's why they tune into like live streams. They tune into what's happening. They watch our videos. They come chat in the community because you're connected to different people that you might not ever have met in person. Like
Mhm.
only a couple people I've met in person, probably off of like the YouTube kind of world and things like that. And it's like these people you talk to probably several times a week, if not every day. Some people that are your friends that are very different, so it's kind of neat to have that different connection as well too.
Yeah, it's like my wife was just like we're going to a fanatic's wedding later in the year, and she's just like, yeah, every time we go travel somewhere, it's there's always just like something Funko related. I said, yeah, I can't help it. I said, no matter where I travel, I'm gonna know someone. I see, you want to go to Malta? I know somebody in Malta. I know people in Canada. I know people in England. I know people in Australia. I know people in Japan. I know someone everywhere. So literally, I said, it's over. You can't. You just got to live with it. Accept
Yeah,
it. And these are like good people. It's not like we get together and we're just like, hey guys, it's we're regular people ultimately, but we just all met because of these little silly toys.
do,
So
do other family members collect as well too?
my wife hates collecting anything, even
Okay.
though she has a bunch of Harry Potter stuff and Game of Thrones minis on her work desk. And it's funny, I actually bought her years ago the headless Ned Stark, which we still
Mm.
have, and I tried to get an autograph of, but that was a fail. I have to tell someone that story another time too. But we still have our headless Ned Stark. She had it in her office at her job because it
Yeah,
wasn't worth
hanging
anything
around.
forever. And then like I'm like, honey, can you bring that home? That's worth like $600.
We
She's
put it
like,
in the
oh,
vault,
okay.
please.
We're gonna it's gonna hide that over there.
And then it crazy went to like $4,000 or something for a while,
It
and then
was, yeah,
finally went down
right.
to normal price.
When the last season, in the middle of the last season, it was like $2,300, and then I was just like, no, I'm gonna hold on to it, and then it dropped to like 800, and I said I could have bought three of them for that, but um, but yeah, it's everything that's happened in like the past year. I mean, starting with $7 a pop. Um, I mean, just staying in the community all those years and just staying active with it and just being involved with it has been so great. Like it led me to this job, and I can honestly say that I've never been happier. Like
Yeah,
when you finally figure out like that one thing that you're like good at. It was like the first job that in a long time that I got just for me. Like I
Yeah.
was myself. It wasn't like, oh, someone recommended you should try here, or get it that way, or someone gave you the in somewhere. It was just I met Lee, and he was, everything just worked out at the right time, and it's just evolved to this thing, and it's there's a lot of really big stuff coming, that we're going to be doing, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. It's good. It's really exciting to be a part of something that's grown like 3 times when you first started, and
Yeah.
to know that you've had like even a small hand in that. It's been incredible, and we got some. We're doing signature series every week, for goodness
Yeah.
sakes, and we got the mystery boxes every week, and we weren't sure any of it was going to work out, and it did. It connected, and that's what's been so great about it. And
So funny enough, on my premiere that's right after here in a few minutes, it's going to be a review of the 2 packs and 6-inch pop shield armors.
wasn't that great?
So, and then also I just opened some mystery boxes too as well, some Toy USA mystery boxes. But thinking about like evolving and continuing to change, and that as you guys like added stuff to I remember just going through your site and going on stuff and looking through stuff. I don't feel like I do that as much as $7 a pop. Like I look at like sometimes drops, I'm like, oh, something I want to grab or try to grab or be disappointed in trying to grab. Like, oh, I'm gonna go after that. But
Well, I tell you, pay attention. Like a lot of times, we do. Like we had the Batman and Joker, that recent 2-pack, the previews exclusive. Like we had those. So like sometimes you can find some stuff that you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah. And I bought some weird stuff from you guys before too. Like I'm the one that buys the weird like limited Dorbs, or like the weird like the wobbler that's on there or something like that, that happens to be up. A lot of times I'll grab some of those kind of things too.
I love when wobblers are up there. Anytime you see a wobbler in a graphic, that's all me. I threw that Officer Big Mac on there, and somebody, New Jersey Collectibles, got that one, so he went and bought it. He's just like, I'm buying that Officer Big Mac. I said, good, do it and show it off. For all your viewers, by the way, I wanted to give away, and you can, however you want to do it, you could do the phrase or something else. If anyone joining us on the live pre-show here, if you want to win a Pop Shield Armor 2-pack and a 6-inch, both of them together, you just have to remember that my favorite movie of all time is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So anybody, however you want to do it, just as long as whatever contest you have, you remember that answer, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So if you want to have a contest for anyone who viewed ahead of time,
so
name my favorite movie. There you go, you got it.
So what we could do is we can do a giveaway on today's video, because it actually features that. So
perfect.
So today's video, remember that, everyone. We're not going to repeat it. And we'll kind of I'll look later on and see what comments have it. So remember Jason's favorite movie in your comment, not in the chat when we go premiere, but actually in the comments, and we'll look them up, and we'll pick someone out there to win a new Pop Shield Armor set.
Yes.
So definitely check that out. We'll be reviewing that. I'll be checking out, putting a couple of my pieces in there that I found that are armor worthy in there. But it's been fun hanging out. I'm glad you could join us. Everyone can always find you on Instagram and Twitter. I know you are pretty active on both.
Yes, I had taken a small break on my personal Instagram, which is at Swoboda, but now that I posted a bunch of cicada stuff back when the cicadas were a thing, and now I'm hopping into they're doing the Funko Photo a Day challenge, so we got to get into that. So
good. So check them out, hang out, and then we're gonna go right over to the premiere. But Jason, if you want to stick around behind the scenes, we can chat too. And then we'll see everyone later. But thanks for coming out, and we'll see everyone.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.